The mud was up to the wheels now, thick and greedy, pulling at the metal frame like hands dragging him down into the earth. Eli Whitaker tried to move the joystick again. Nothing. The wheelchair's motor whined, a pathetic sound that made his chest tighten. Rain poured down his face, mixing with something that might have been tears, though he told himself it was just water. "Help," he called out. His voice sounded small against the storm. A jogger in bright yellow ran past, earbuds and eyes forward. Didn't even glance his way. Eli's heart hammered. The chair tilted slightly to the left. He could feel it sinking deeper. The park path had been fine 20 minutes ago, just wet pavement and puddles. But Gerald had suggested they cut through this section, said it would be faster. Then Gerald's phone had rung. His caregiver stood 30 feet away now, back turned, voice rising in some argument Eli couldn't hear over the rain. "Gerald," Eli shouted. Nothing. Another jogger approached, this one in red. Young guy, strong looking. Someone who could help. "Excuse me," Eli tried. "I'm stuck. Could you?" The jogger's eyes slid past him like he was part of the scenery. Part of the mud. The wheelchair sank another inch. Eli could feel the cold water seeping through his pants now. His hands shook on the armrests. 40 years old. Billionaire. Owner of one of the fastest growing tech companies in the country. And right now he was invisible. Helpless. Disappearing into the mud while the world jogged past. A third person came into view. Another jogger, this one in white. Woman maybe mid-30s. She had to see him. Had to. "Please," Eli called out. She looked right at him. Their eyes met for half a second. Then she adjusted her wireless earbuds and kept running. The rain came down harder. The wheelchair lurched. Eli gripped the armrest so tight his knuckles went white. This was it. This was how people would find him. Stuck. Helpless. The man who built an empire but couldn't get himself out of a mud puddle. He thought about calling 911, but his phone was in his jacket pocket. In this position, tilted and sinking, he couldn't reach it without risking the whole chair tipping over. Gerald was still on his phone, gesturing wildly with one hand, completely oblivious. Eli closed his eyes. The rain was cold. The mud was cold. Everything was cold. "Sir? Sir, are you okay?" He opened his eyes. A woman stood in front of him, rain plastering her dark hair to her face. She was young, mid-20s maybe, with deep brown skin and eyes full of concern. She wore a bright red jacket over what looked like cleaning service scrubs. Her sneakers, white canvas with pink laces, were already splattered with mud. "I'm stuck," Eli managed. "The wheelchair." "I see it." She was already moving, stepping into the mud without hesitation. It came up over her shoes immediately, swallowing the white canvas. "Okay, let me try to." She grabbed the back of his wheelchair and pulled. The chair didn't budge. She adjusted her grip, planted her feet in the mud and pulled harder. Eli could see the strain on her face, the way her jaw set with determination. "It's no use," Eli said. "It's too heavy. The motor's dead weight now. We're going to get you out." She said it like a fact. Like there was no other option. She moved around to the front, assessed the angle, then went back to the rear. "On 3 I'm going to lift and push at the same time. You do whatever you can with that joystick, okay? It's not working. Try anyway. 1, 2, 3. She lifted and pushed. Eli jammed the joystick forward. For a second nothing happened. Then, with a sucking sound that made Eli's stomach turn, the wheelchair lurched forward an inch. Then another inch. "It's working," the woman gasped. "Keep going." She pushed harder. Eli could hear her breathing hard and fast. The wheelchair moved again. Then again. The mud fought them every inch, but slowly, impossibly they made progress. Eli's back will hit something solid. Pavement. The woman gave one final push and the chair rolled onto the paved path. She stood there, breathing hard, covered in mud from her knees down. Her shoes were completely ruined, brown where they used to be white and pink. She pulled out her phone to check something and Eli saw her face fall. The screen was dead. Water damage or mud or both. "Your phone?" Eli said. "It's okay." She was already trying to wipe mud off her hands onto her jacket, but it just smeared around. "Are you hurt? Do you need me to call someone?" "Gerald," Eli called out louder this time. His caregiver finally looked up, eyes going wide when he saw the situation. "Oh my God, Eli, I'm so sorry, I was just..." Gerald rushed over, pocketing his phone. "What happened?" "I got stuck. This woman helped me." Eli turned to look at her properly. She was shivering now, soaked through. "I don't even know your name." "Lady," she said. "Lady Johnson." "Lady." Eli felt something shift in his chest. I'm Eli Whitaker. And I owe you everything. Have you ever walked past someone who needed help? What if that one moment of kindness could change two lives forever? Drop a comment below telling me about a time someone helped you when no one else would. And if this story touched your heart, hit that subscribe button so you never miss a story about hope, love, and second chances. Gerald was fussing over the wheelchair now, checking the motor. We need to get you home and dried off. This thing needs repairs. But Eli wasn't paying attention to Gerald. He was looking at Lady, at her ruined shoes and dead phone and the way she was trying not to shiver. Please, he said. Let me repay you. Your shoes, your phone? Really, it's okay, Lady said, but her voice was small. It's not okay. Eli reached into his jacket pocket. His phone was still dry, protected by the waterproof case. At least let me call you a car service. Get you home safe and dry. Lady hesitated. Eli could see her weighing it, pride against practicality. Please, he said again. You helped me without thinking twice. Let me do this one small thing. Finally she nodded. Okay. Thank you. Eli arranged the car while Gerald got the wheelchair ready to move. Before Lady left, Eli asked for her number. She recited it slowly and he typed it into his phone with shaking fingers. I'll be in touch, he promised. I'm going to make this right. Lady smiled, a real smile that made her whole face light up despite the rain and the cold. I hope you get home safe, Mr. Whitaker. Eli, he corrected. Just Eli. The car arrived, a sleek black sedan that made Lady's eyes go wide. She climbed in and Eli watched until the red taillights disappeared around the corner. Gerald finally got the wheelchair moving. As they headed toward Eli's own car, parked on the other side of the park, Eli kept thinking about Lady's hands gripping his wheelchair. About the way she'd stepped into that mud without a second thought. About her ruined shoes and broken phone and the smile she'd given him anyway. 3 joggers had passed him by. 1 woman had saved him. Eli Whitaker had built a fortune on seeing opportunities others missed. And sitting there in his wet clothes, mud caking the wheels of his $60,000 wheelchair, he realized something. Meeting Lady Johnson wasn't just luck. It was the beginning of something important. He could feel it. He just didn't know yet how much it would change everything. 3 days passed before Eli could keep his promise. His wheelchair needed serious repairs after the mud incident. The motor had to be completely replaced. While technicians worked on it, Eli used his backup chair, an older model that felt clunky and slow. But the wheelchair wasn't what kept him awake at night. It was the memory of Lady Johnson, standing in that storm, refusing to walk past him like everyone else had. Gerald had tried to talk him out of calling her. You sent the car service. You're even. People do good deeds all the time. She ruined her only good shoes, Eli had said. Her phone died. And you know what she did? She smiled and said she hoped I got home safe. Now, on Thursday morning, Eli sat in his office on the 3rd floor of his estate. The room was bright, sunlight streaming through floor-to-ceiling windows that overlooked the garden. His desk was clean, organized. Everything in its place the way he liked it. He picked up his phone and dialed the number he'd already memorized. It rang 4 times. Then, hello? Lady? This is Eli Whitaker. From the park. Pause. Oh, I didn't recognize the number. I promised I'd be in touch. I want to repay you properly for what you did. Mr. Whitaker, you really don't need to. Please, Eli said. Meet with me. Just once. Let me explain. Another pause, longer this time. Then, okay. They arranged to meet at a coffee shop near her apartment. Eli knew the area. It was 40 minutes from his estate, a working-class neighborhood with small shops and apartment buildings that had seen better days. When Eli arrived in his accessible van, Gerald at the wheel, he spotted Lady through the window. She sat at a corner table wearing the same red jacket from the park. Her hands were wrapped around a paper coffee cup, and she was staring out the window with an expression Eli couldn't quite read. He wheeled himself inside, Gerald holding the door. Lady looked up and her face brightened. Hi, she said, standing. Hi. Thank you for coming. She sat back down and Eli positioned his chair across from her. Gerald retreated to a table by the door, giving them privacy. I'll get right to it, Eli said. I want to replace your phone and your shoes. And I want to offer you a job. Lady's eyes went wide. A job. As my personal assistant. Eli leaned forward. Gerald is my caregiver. He helps with medical needs and physical tasks. But I need someone to help with everything else. Scheduling, correspondence, running errands. Someone I can trust. Mr. Whitaker. Eli. Eli, she corrected. You don't even know me. I know you didn't hesitate when I needed help. I know you're kind and strong and you don't give up when things get hard. That tells me everything I need to know. Lady's hands tightened around her coffee cup. Can I be honest? Please. I work 3 jobs right now. Cleaning service in the mornings, retail in the afternoons, waitressing some nights. I'm barely making rent. My little brother Tommy, he's 16 and I'm trying to keep him in a good school. Save money for his college someday. She took a breath. So yes, I want to say yes. But I need to know this is real. Eli's chest tightened. 3 jobs. A 16-year-old brother depending on her. And she'd still stop to help a stranger in the rain. It's real, he said. The salary is $80,000 a year to start. Health insurance, dental, vision. 4 weeks paid vacation. And I'll pay for Tommy's college when the time comes. Lady's cup slipped from her fingers, coffee sloshing onto the table. What? You heard me right. That's too much. It's what the position is worth. And lady? Eli waited until she met his eyes. I'm not doing this out of pity. I need help. Real help. Someone smart and capable. You pulled a 200-pound wheelchair out of mud. You can handle anything. Tears welled in Lady's eyes. She wiped them away quickly. I don't know what to say. Say yes. She laughed, a sound mixed with crying. Yes, okay. Thank you. No, Eli said. Thank you. They worked out the details over the next hour. Lady would start Monday. Eli would have everything ready for her, a proper workspace, a company phone and laptop. Gerald would show her the ropes. Before they left, Eli handed her a bag he'd brought with him. Inside was a new phone, already set up and activated. And a pair of sneakers, white canvas with pink laces. Just like the one she'd ruined. How did you know? Lady asked, staring at the shoes. I pay attention, Eli said simply. Lady put a hand over her mouth. When she spoke, her voice was thick. Nobody's ever done anything like this for me. Get used to it, Eli said. And he meant it. As Gerald drove him home, Eli felt lighter than he had in years. His business partner Vincent was always telling him he was too isolated, too closed off. Maybe Vincent was right. Maybe letting someone new into his life was exactly what he needed. He thought about Lady's tears, her gratitude, the way she'd looked at those shoes like they were made of gold. She deserved good things. And Eli was going to make sure she got them. Monday couldn't come fast enough. Lady's hands shook as she stood outside the iron gates of the Whitaker estate. She'd looked up Eli's address online, seen pictures of the property. But seeing it in person was something else entirely. The house beyond the gates was huge, 3 stories of pale stone with tall windows and a circular driveway. Gardens stretched out on either side, perfectly maintained. A fountain stood in the center of the drive, water catching the morning light. She pressed the intercom button. Hello. A woman's voice. Hi, this is Lady Johnson. I'm here too. The gates swung open before she could finish. Come on up to the main house, dear. We've been expecting you. Lady walked up the long driveway, her new shoes quiet on the pavement. She'd worn her best outfit, a blue blouse and black pants she usually saved for job interviews. Everything she owned fit in 2 suitcases, but she tried to look professional. The front door opened as she approached. A woman in her 50s stood there, smiling warmly. She had gray-streaked brown hair and wore green scrubs with a name tag that said, Nicole. You must be Lady. I'm Nicole, Eli's physical therapist. Come in, come in. The inside of the house was even more impressive. High ceilings, marble floors, art on the walls that probably cost more than Lady made in a year. But it didn't feel cold. There were plants everywhere, books on shelves, comfortable-looking furniture. Eli's in his office, Nicole said. But first, let me show you your space. She led Lady down a hallway to a room that took Lady's breath away. It was an office, smaller than what she'd glimpsed of Eli's but still huge by her standards. There was a desk with 2 large monitors, a comfortable chair, shelves waiting to be filled. And on the desk sat a laptop, a tablet, and that new phone Eli had given her. This is all mine? Lady asked. All yours. Eli had it set up over the weekend. Nicole's smile was kind. He's really glad you're here. Gerald appeared then, the same man who'd been with Eli in the park. He shook Lady's hand. Good to see you again. Ready for your first day? The morning passed in a blur. Gerald showed her Eli's systems, how he liked his schedule organized, which calls to prioritize. Nicole explained the house layout, where everything was. The chef, a friendly man named Paul, brought her lunch. Everyone was kind. Everyone treated her like she belonged there. It was the strangest, most wonderful feeling. At 2 o'clock, Gerald knocked on her office door. Eli wants to see you. Lady followed him to the third floor. Eli's office was bright and organized, just like she remembered from the coffee shop description. But now she was here in his space. Eli sat behind his desk working on something on his computer. When he saw her, his whole face lit up. "Lady, how's your first day?" "Overwhelming," she admitted. "But good. Really good. Sit please." He gestured to a chair across from his desk. "I wanted to check in. Make sure you have everything you need." "I have more than I need," Lady said. "That office, Eli, it's bigger than my apartment." He smiled. "Good. You'll be spending a lot of time there. I want you comfortable." They talked through her first assignments. Organizing his calendar for the next month. Reviewing proposals from vendors. Drafting responses to some business correspondence. Nothing too complicated but enough to keep her busy. "One more thing," Eli said as she stood to leave. "I meant what I said about Tommy's college fund. I've set up an account. We can discuss details later, but I want you to know it's real." Lady had to sit back down. "Eli, I know it seems like a lot. But here's the thing. You changed my life that day in the park. Let me change yours." "You already have," Lady said softly. That evening, when Lady got home to her small apartment, Tommy was at the kitchen table doing homework. He looked up when she came in. "How was the new job?" "Incredible." Lady dropped into the chair across from him. "Tommy, I need to tell you something." She explained everything. The salary, the benefits, the college fund Eli had set up. Tommy's eyes got wider and wider. "Is this for real?" he asked. "It's real." Tommy whooped and jumped up, pulling Lady into a hug. "We're going to be okay. We're actually going to be okay." Lady hugged him back, tears streaming down her face. For the first time since their mother had died 3 years ago, leaving Lady to raise Tommy alone, she felt like she could breathe. Like the weight crushing her chest had finally lifted. That night, she lay in bed staring at the ceiling. She thought about Eli's smile, the way he'd set up that office just for her. The way everyone in his house had treated her with respect and kindness. She'd spent so long just surviving, working herself to exhaustion, always worried about making rent or keeping Tommy fed. Now, suddenly, the future looked different. Bright. Full of possibility. And it was all because she'd stopped to help a stranger in the rain. 2 weeks into the job, Lady felt like she'd been working for Eli forever. She'd learned his routines, his preferences, the way he liked his coffee in the morning and how he always reviewed contracts in the afternoon when his mind was sharpest. But more than that, she'd learned about him as a person. Eli had started his tech company, Whitaker Solutions, 10 years ago. They specialized in accessibility software, programs that helped disabled people navigate computers and phones more easily. He'd built it from nothing, working 80-hour weeks, pouring everything he had into making technology work for everyone. Then, 3 years ago, a car accident had changed everything. Eli had been driving home late from a conference when a drunk driver ran a red light. The crash left him paralyzed from the waist down. His girlfriend at the time, a woman named Rachel, had left him within 6 months. Said she couldn't handle it. Nicole had told Lady this story one afternoon over lunch. He closed himself off after that. Threw himself into work. Barely left the house except for therapy and necessary meetings. We all worried about him. But he seems so. Lady searched for the word. Present. Engaged. He does now, Nicole said meaningfully. That changed about 2 weeks ago. Lady felt her face heat up. She knew what Nicole was implying. The truth was Eli was easy to be around. He had a dry sense of humor that caught her off guard. He remembered little things like how she took her tea or that Tommy had a math test coming up. He treated her like an equal, asking her opinion on business matters, listening when she spoke. And sometimes, when they were working together, she'd catch him looking at her with an expression she couldn't quite read. On Thursday afternoon, Lady was in Eli's office reviewing vendor proposals when his business partner arrived. Vincent Stone was tall and thin, with silver hair and sharp eyes. He wore an expensive suit and carried himself like he owned the world. "Eli," he said, barely glancing at Lady. "We need to discuss the Patterson deal." "Vincent, this is Lady Johnson, my new assistant." "Lady, Vincent Stone, my business partner." Vincent's gaze slid over her, assessing. "Pleasure." The word was polite but his tone was cool. "Should I step out?" Lady asked. "No need," Eli said. "You should hear this anyway. You'll be coordinating a lot of the logistics." They spent the next hour discussing a potential merger with another tech company. Vincent did most of the talking, laying out numbers and projections. But Lady noticed something. Every time Eli agreed with her input or asked her opinion, Vincent's jaw tightened. After Vincent left, Eli sighed. Sorry about that. Vincent can be intense. He doesn't like me, Lady said. He doesn't know you yet. Give him time. But Lady wasn't so sure. The way Vincent had looked at her, like she was something that didn't belong in this world of money and power. She'd seen that look before at every job she'd ever had. The assumption that she was less than, that she didn't deserve to be there. She pushed the thought away. Eli believed in her. That was what mattered. That weekend, Eli invited Lady and Tommy to the estate for lunch. Tommy had been dying to see where she worked, and Lady had to admit she was curious how the two most important people in her life would get along. She shouldn't have worried. Tommy and Eli hit it off immediately. They bonded over video games and technology. Eli showed Tommy his personal collection of vintage game consoles, let him try out some of the accessibility software Whitaker Solutions had developed. "This is so cool," Tommy said, eyes wide as he navigated a computer using just his voice. "How does it work?" Eli explained the programming, keeping it simple but not talking down to him. Lady watched them together, her heart full. After lunch they sat in the garden. The weather was perfect, warm with a light breeze. Eli had converted part of the garden into an accessible space, with wide paths and raised plant beds he could reach from his chair. "You really love this place," Lady said, watching him point out different flowers to Tommy. "I do. After the accident, I spent a lot of time feeling trapped. The garden helped. Made me remember there was still beauty in the world." He glanced at her. Still good things worth reaching for. Something in his voice made Lady's breath catch. But before she could respond, Tommy called out, asking about the fountain. On the drive home, Tommy wouldn't stop talking. "He's so smart, Lady. And did you see his game collection? He said I could come back anytime." "He really likes you," Lady said. "I really like him too." Tommy looked at her sideways. "He likes you more though." "Tommy? I'm just saying. The way he looks at you? That's not how a boss looks at an employee." Lady felt her face heat up again. "We're just friends. He's my boss." "Sure," Tommy said, grinning. "Just friends." But that night, lying in bed, Lady let herself think about it. About Eli's smile, the way he listened when she talked. The way her heart sped up when he said her name. She'd spent 3 years focused on survival. On keeping Tommy safe and fed and in school. She hadn't thought about relationships, about wanting something for herself. Now, for the first time, she wondered if maybe she could have both. A good job and a good life. Tommy's future secured and maybe, just maybe, a future of her own. It was a dangerous thought. But as she drifted off to sleep, Lady couldn't help but smile. Spring turned into summer. Lady's 3-month probation period passed, then 6 months. She'd proven herself capable, essential even. Eli relied on her for everything from managing his calendar to reviewing contracts to organizing charity events. But somewhere along the way the job had become more than just work. They started having lunch together every day. At first it was just convenient, a working lunch to discuss ongoing projects. Then Eli started asking about her day, her life, her dreams. And Lady found herself opening up in ways she never had before. "I always wanted to go to college," she told him one afternoon. They were in the garden eating sandwiches Paul had made. "Got a full scholarship to state, actually. But then Mom got sick and—" "You had to take care of her," Eli finished. "Yeah. And after she passed there was Tommy. The scholarship was long gone by then. And I couldn't leave him alone to go to school. So I worked instead." Eli was quiet for a moment. "What would you study? If you could go now?" "Business administration, maybe. Or social work. Something where I could help people." Lady smiled. "I know it sounds silly." "It doesn't sound silly at all." Eli set down his sandwich. "Lady, I want to pay for you to go to college." "Eli, no. You've already done too much." "I haven't done nearly enough. You could take classes online, work it around your schedule here. Or go part-time to a local university. Whatever you want." He leaned forward. "You have dreams. Let me help you reach them." Lady's eyes filled with tears. "Why are you doing all this for me? Because you deserve it. Because you're brilliant and kind and you should have every opportunity in the world." He paused. "And because making you happy makes me happy." The air between them felt charged, heavy with words neither of them was quite ready to say. "Okay," Lady said finally. "Okay, I'll do it. Thank you." Eli's smile could have lit up the whole garden. 2 weeks later, Lady was enrolled in online classes at the state university. Business administration, just like she dreamed. She did her coursework in the evenings after Tommy went to bed, and Eli gave her time during work hours to study when things were slow. Nicole became one of Lady's closest friends. The physical therapist was warm and funny, and she clearly cared about Eli like family. She'd been with him since right after the accident, helping him adjust to life in a wheelchair. "He's different now," Nicole told Lady one day. They were in the kitchen drinking tea while Eli was in a video conference. "More like the man he was before the accident. Before Rachel left." "His ex-girlfriend?" "Yeah. She really did a number on him. Made him feel like he wasn't enough anymore, like the wheelchair made him less than human." Nicole shook her head. "Took him a long time to heal from that." Lady's chest tightened. She couldn't imagine anyone making Eli feel that way. He was brilliant, kind, funny. The wheelchair was just part of who he was, no different than his brown hair or the way he gestured when he got excited about an idea. "I'm glad he has good people around him now," Lady said. Nicole smiled. "So are we. Especially you." In July, Eli invited Lady to a charity gala his company was hosting. It was a big event, black tie at a fancy hotel downtown. All the money raised would go to funding accessibility programs for disabled children. "I need you there as my assistant," Eli said. "But also, I'd like you there as my date." Lady's heart skipped. "Your date? If you want to. No pressure. I just..." He ran a hand through his hair, suddenly looking nervous. "I'd like to spend the evening with you. Not as boss and employee. As us." "I'd like that too," Lady said softly. The week before the gala, Eli took Lady shopping. He insisted on buying her a dress, wouldn't take no for an answer. The boutique was high-end, the kind of place Lady had never dreamed of entering. The saleswoman brought out dress after dress. Lady tried on at least 15. Then she stepped out of the dressing room in a deep green dress that hugged her curves and flowed to the floor. It had a high neckline and long sleeves, elegant and sophisticated. Eli stared at her. Just stared, his mouth slightly open. "Too much?" Lady asked nervously. "You're beautiful," he said. His voice was rough. "Absolutely beautiful." Lady felt heat rise in her cheeks. The way he was looking at her, like she was the only person in the world. She'd never felt anything like it. The night of the gala, Gerald drove them to the hotel. Lady wore the green dress and heels that made her legs look miles long. Eli wore a black suit with a green tie that matched her dress exactly. The ballroom was huge, full of people in expensive clothes drinking champagne. Crystal chandeliers hung from the ceiling. A string quartet played in one corner. Lady felt out of place for about 5 seconds. Then Eli took her hand. "Stay with me," he said. "We'll get through this together." And they did. Eli introduced her to everyone, business partners and clients and donors. He never let go of her hand. When people asked who she was, he said, "This is Lady Johnson. She's brilliant and she runs my life." And when they danced, slow and close as the quartet played, Lady felt like she was floating. "Thank you for being here," Eli said quietly. His hand was warm on her back. "Thank you for inviting me, Lady." He looked like he wanted to say something else, something important. But then Vincent appeared, needing to discuss something urgent, and the moment passed. Still, as Lady watched Eli handle the crisis with calm efficiency, she realized something. She wasn't just working for him anymore. She wasn't just grateful for his help. She was falling in love with him. And from the way he looked at her when he thought she wasn't paying attention, she thought maybe, just maybe, he felt the same way. August brought a heat wave. The air conditioner in Lady's apartment broke, and she spent 3 miserable nights trying to sleep in the sweltering heat. Tommy borrowed a fan from a neighbor, but it barely helped. When Lady showed up to work on Thursday morning, exhausted and heat-dazed, Eli took one look at her and made a decision. "Pack a bag," he said. "You and Tommy are staying here until your AC is fixed." "Eli, we can't." "You can and you will. There are 6 empty bedrooms in this house. The guest wing is just sitting there. And it's supposed to be 95 degrees again today." He crossed his arms. "I'm not taking no for an answer." Lady was too tired to argue. That evening she and Tommy moved into the guest wing. It was like a fancy hotel, 2 bedrooms with their own bathrooms, a small living area between them. The air conditioning worked perfectly. Tommy sprawled on his bed and laughed. "This is amazing." It was supposed to be just a few days. The AC repair guy promised he'd have their unit fixed by Monday. But Monday came and went, and the part he needed was on backorder. Then Tuesday. Then Wednesday. "The part won't be in for at least another week," Lady told Eli apologetically. "We'll find somewhere else to stay. Maybe a cheap motel?" "Don't be ridiculous. You're staying here." "But it's been almost 2 weeks." So? Eli wheeled closer. Lady, having you here. Both of you? It's been good. The house feels more like a home. And Tommy's great. He helps Paul in the kitchen, plays chess with Nicole. Even Gerald likes having him around. You're sure? I'm sure. So they stayed. And Lady found herself settling into a routine that felt dangerously like family. She'd wake up and have breakfast with Eli and Tommy. Work during the day. Have dinner together in the evening. Sometimes they'd watch movies in Eli's home theater, Tommy between them, eating popcorn and laughing at the funny parts. It was the happiest Lady had been in years. One evening, after Tommy had gone to bed, Lady and Eli sat in the garden. The sun was setting, painting the sky pink and orange. Crickets sang in the grass. Can I ask you something? Lady said. Anything. Do you ever regret it? The accident, I mean. The way your life changed. Eli was quiet for a long time. I used to. Right after it happened, I was angry all the time. At the drunk driver, at the universe, at myself for being in the wrong place at the wrong time. And when Rachel left. He shook his head. I thought my life was over. That I'd never be happy again. What changed? Therapy. Tom. Nicole helping me see that I was still me, just in a different package. He turned to look at Lady. And more recently? A woman pulled me out of the mud. Literally and figuratively. Lady's breath caught. Eli. I know we've been dancing around this. But I need you to know. You make me happy, Lady. Really, truly happy. I look forward to seeing you every morning. I love talking to you, working with you. Being near you. I feel the same way, Lady admitted. I have for months. But I didn't know if you. I do. Eli reached for her hand. I absolutely do. They sat there in the garden, hands linked, watching the stars come out. Lady felt like her heart might burst. This wasn't the plan. When she'd taken this job, she'd been thinking about survival, about Tommy's future. She hadn't been thinking about falling in love. But here she was. In love with a brilliant, kind, wonderful man who saw her for who she really was. What do we do now? She asked. We see where this goes. No pressure, no rush. We just see. Eli squeezed her hand. Is that okay? It's perfect. The next few weeks were a dream. They went on actual dates, Eli taking Lady to nice restaurants and art galleries and concerts. They held hands. They kissed, slow and sweet, in the garden at night. They talked about everything, their pasts and their dreams and their fears. Tommy was thrilled. I knew it, he said when Lady told him. I knew you two were perfect for each other. Nicole and Gerald were happy too. Even Paul the chef seemed to smile more, making special meals for them. The only person who wasn't happy was Vincent. He came by the estate one afternoon for a business meeting. Lady was there as usual, taking notes. When the meeting ended and Lady stepped out to let them talk privately, Vincent's voice carried through the door. Are you sure about this, Eli? About what? The girl. Your assistant. You're getting involved with her. Her name is Lady. And yes, we're involved. What's your concern? My concern is that this is a bad idea. She works for you. The power dynamic is all wrong. And people are going to talk. Lady felt her stomach twist. She shouldn't be listening, but she couldn't make herself walk away. Let them talk, Eli said coldly. Lady makes me happy. She's brilliant and kind, and she sees me as a person, not just a guy in a wheelchair. I don't care what anyone else thinks. I'm trying to protect you. I don't need protection. I need you to respect my choices. Lady is important to me. You need to accept that. There was a long silence. Then Vincent said, Fine. But don't say I didn't warn you. After Vincent left, Lady went back into the office. Eli looked tired, frustrated. I'm sorry, she said. I heard some of that. I didn't mean to. It's fine. Vincent means well, but he's overprotective. Eli reached for her hand. He doesn't understand. What we have is real, Lady. Don't let anyone make you doubt that. I won't, she promised. But that night, lying in her guest room bed, Lady couldn't help but worry. Vincent's words echoed in her head. The power dynamic. People talking. Part of her wondered if he was right. Then she remembered Eli's smile, the way he held her hand, the way he listened when she talked about her classes or Tommy or her dreams. He didn't treat her like an employee. He treated her like an equal. Like someone he cherished. That was real. Everything else was just noise. Lady fell asleep with a smile on her face, dreaming of green dresses and garden paths and a future that looked brighter than she'd ever imagined. September brought cooler weather and a new rhythm to their lives. Lady's apartment AC was finally fixed, but nobody suggested she and Tommy move back. The guest wing had become their home. Eli's estate had become their home. Tommy was thriving. He'd started his junior year at his high school, and his grades were better than ever. Eli had set up a study space for him, helped him with his college prep. The two of them had become genuinely close, talking about technology and gaming and life. Lady was thriving too. Her online classes were going well. She was learning business strategy, management, accounting. Eli often reviewed her assignments, offering insights from his years running a company. And their relationship, that was thriving most of all. They were careful at first, keeping things professional during work hours. But it was impossible to hide the way they looked at each other, the way they gravitated toward each other in any room. Nicole caught them kissing in the hallway one afternoon and just laughed. Finally. We were all wondering how long you two would pretend this wasn't happening. Even Gerald, usually stoic and professional, smiled when he saw them together. One Saturday evening, Eli asked Lady to meet him in the garden after dinner. It had become their place, the spot where they had their most important conversations. When Lady arrived, she found the path lit with solar lights, leading to a bench near the fountain. Eli waited there looking nervous. "Hi," she said, sitting beside him. "Hi." He took her hand. "I need to talk to you about something." Lady's heart jumped. His tone was serious. "Okay. We've been doing this for a few months now. Dating, building something together. And I need you to know how I feel." He turned to face her fully. "I'm in love with you, Lady. Completely, thoroughly in love with you." Lady felt tears spring to her eyes. "Eli, I know it might seem fast, but when you've spent years feeling like you're not enough, like the best parts of your life are behind you, and then someone comes along who makes you feel whole again." He squeezed her hand. "I can't pretend anymore. I love you. I love your strength and your kindness. I love the way you care about Tommy. I love how smart you are, how hard you work. I love everything about you." "I love you too," Lady said, the words spilling out. "I've been scared to say it, scared it was too soon or too complicated. But I do. I love you so much it terrifies me." Eli pulled her close, kissing her deeply. When they broke apart, both of them were crying. "I want you to know," Eli said. "This isn't about gratitude. It's not about what you did that day in the park, though I'll always be grateful for that. This is about who you are. About how you make me feel. About wanting to build a life with you." "A life?" Lady's voice shook. "If you want that. I know we have challenges. The age difference, the fact that I'm your boss, Vincent's concerns. But I don't care about any of that. I care about you." Lady thought about her life a year ago. Working 3 jobs, exhausted all the time, worried about Tommy, barely surviving. And now she had love. She had hope. She had a future that looked bright and full and beautiful. "I want that too," she said. "I want a life with you." They stayed in the garden for hours talking about their dreams. Eli wanted to expand his company, create more accessibility technology. Lady wanted to finish her degree, maybe work in the nonprofit sector someday, helping people like she'd been helped. "We'll figure it out together," Eli said. "Whatever comes next, we'll face it together." The next few weeks were a blur of happiness. They went public with their relationship, posting a picture together on social media. Most of the responses were positive, congratulatory. But some weren't. A few of Eli's business acquaintances made snide comments. There were a few articles in tech blogs, questioning whether it was appropriate for a CEO to date his assistant. One particularly nasty piece implied Lady was a gold digger who'd planned the whole thing from the start. Lady tried not to let it bother her. But it was hard seeing those words. Reading strangers' opinions about her life, her choices, her love. Eli was furious. "They don't know you. They don't know us. This is our business, not theirs." "I know. I just..." Lady swallowed hard. "What if they're right? What if people always see me as just the woman who got lucky? Who trapped a rich guy? Then those people are idiots." Eli took her face in his hands. "Lady, listen to me. You didn't trap me. You saved me. You work harder than anyone I know. You're earning your degree while working full-time and raising Tommy. You're brilliant and capable, and you deserve every good thing that happens to you." "But Vincent said..." "Vincent is wrong. He's protective because he cares, but he's wrong. You belong here. With me. And anyone who can't see that can get out of my life." Lady leaned into him, drawing strength from his certainty. "I love you. I love you too. And I'm going to prove it." The next day, Eli made a public statement on his company's website. He talked about meeting Lady, about her kindness and strength. He addressed the speculation directly, making it clear their relationship was built on mutual respect and love. He also announced he was promoting Lady to Director of Community Outreach, A real position with real responsibilities separate from being his assistant. She's earned this, the statement read. Not because of our relationship, but because she's talented and visionary and perfect for the role. I'm lucky to have her in my life, both personally and professionally. The response was overwhelmingly positive. People respected Eli for being honest, for standing up for Lady. The negative articles dried up. Lady threw herself into her new role. She developed programs to get accessibility technology into schools, worked with nonprofits to provide services to disabled children. It was meaningful work, important work. And she was good at it. Tommy was proud of her. Nicole was proud of her. Paul made a special celebration dinner. And Eli looked at her like she hung the moon. One night, as they sat together watching the sunset from the garden, Lady thought about how much her life had changed. A year ago she'd been drowning, barely keeping her head above water. Now she had love, purpose, family. All because she'd stopped to help a stranger in the rain. What are you thinking about? Eli asked. How lucky I am, Lady said. I'm the lucky one, Eli countered. Then we're both lucky. Eli kissed her temple. Yeah, we really are. October arrived with falling leaves and cooler temperatures. Lady had been dating Eli for almost 6 months now, living in his estate for 4 months. Her life had transformed so completely that sometimes she barely recognized herself. She was excelling in her new role as Director of Community Outreach. She'd secured partnerships with 5 major school districts, getting Whitaker Solutions accessibility software into classrooms across the state. She'd organized fundraisers and awareness campaigns. The work was fulfilling in ways she'd never imagined. Tommy was applying to colleges, his applications full of experiences and opportunities he never would have had without Eli's support. His grades were excellent. His future looked bright. Everything should have been perfect. But then the article came out. It was in a major business magazine, a profile piece about Eli and Whitaker Solutions. Most of it was complimentary, talking about his innovative approach to accessibility technology and his company's rapid growth. But there was one section that made Lady's blood run cold. Whitaker's personal life has raised eyebrows in the tech community. His relationship with Lady Johnson, a former employee who now serves as Director of Community Outreach, began under circumstances some find questionable. Johnson, who had been working 3 low-wage jobs before Whitaker hired her, now lives in his estate and enjoys significant financial benefits from the relationship. While Whitaker insists the romance is genuine, critics wonder if Johnson saw an opportunity and seized it. The article included quotes from unnamed sources. She knew exactly what she was doing. It's a classic case of someone using their position to get ahead. Poor guy probably can't see he's being manipulated. Lady read it 3 times, each time feeling sicker. She was in her office when she saw it, and she had to lock the door and sit with her head between her knees to keep from passing out. All her fears, all her insecurities right there in print for everyone to see. She didn't tell Eli at first. She threw herself into work, avoiding him when she could, keeping conversations short and professional when she couldn't. But Eli noticed. Of course he noticed. What's wrong? He asked on Wednesday evening. They were supposed to have dinner together, but Lady had made an excuse about needing to work late. Nothing. Just busy. Lady. He wheeled closer. Talk to me. She couldn't hold it in anymore. She showed him the article on her phone, watching his face as he read. His expression went from confused to angry to furious. This is garbage, he said flatly. Complete garbage. But what if they're right? The words burst out of Lady before she could stop them. What if I did manipulate you? Not consciously, but what if I saw what you could give me and I let myself fall in love because of it? Do you honestly believe that? I don't know what I believe anymore. Lady's voice broke. Everyone thinks I'm using you. Your business associates, people in the community, whoever talked to that reporter. What if they see something I don't? Eli took her hands. Look at me. Lady, look at me. She met his eyes, tears streaming down her face. You are not using me. You loved me before I gave you anything beyond a job. You've worked harder than anyone to prove yourself in that job. You've earned everything you have. His voice was fierce. And even if you hadn't earned it, even if I'd just given it all to you because I love you, so what? I'm a billionaire. I can do whatever I want with my money. And what I want is to take care of you. But people think. I don't care what people think. I care what you think. What I think. What we know to be true. He squeezed her hands. Do you love me? Yes. Do I love you? Yes. Then nothing else matters. Lady wanted to believe him. But doubt had planted its roots deep. That night, she lay awake in her room, staring at the ceiling. She thought about calling Tommy, but he was at a friend's house for a study session. She felt utterly alone. The next morning, a reporter showed up at the estate's gates. Then another. By noon, there were 5 of them, all wanting a statement about the article. Gerald had to call the police to get them to leave. Lady felt like she was suffocating. "I should move out," she told Nicole that afternoon. They were in the kitchen, where Lady had retreated to hide from everyone. "Tommy and I should go back to our apartment. Put some distance between me and Eli, let this blow over." "Is that what you want?" Nicole asked gently. "No. But maybe it's what's best." "For who?" Lady didn't have an answer. That evening Eli called a house meeting. He gathered Lady, Tommy, Nicole, Gerald, and Paul in the living room. "I've made a decision," he said. "I'm doing a press conference tomorrow. I'm going to address this article and all the speculation directly. I'm going to tell our story, the real story. About the park, the mud, Lady's kindness. About how we fell in love. About how she's earned everything she has." "Eli, you don't have to." Lady started. "Yes, I do. Because I won't let people tear you down. I won't let them make you doubt yourself or us." He looked around the room. "Lady has brought joy back into this house. Into my life. She's made me remember what it feels like to be happy. And I'm not going to lose that because some people are small-minded and judgmental." Tommy spoke up then. "Lady, Eli's right. You're the best person I know. You've taken care of me my whole life, put yourself last every single day. You deserve to be happy. You deserve to be loved. Don't let anyone tell you different." Nicole nodded. "We're family now. All of us. And families stick together." Even Gerald, usually quiet, added his support. "You belong here, Miss Johnson. Anyone with eyes can see that." Lady looked at all of them, these people who'd become her family over the past year. People who believed in her even when she didn't believe in herself. "Okay," she said finally. "Okay, we'll face this together." The press conference the next day was intense. Reporters asked hard questions. But Eli was calm, articulate, unwavering. He told their story with honesty and passion. He made it clear that Lady had earned her position through hard work and talent. He addressed the speculation head-on, refusing to let it stand. "Lady Johnson is the woman I love," he said directly into the camera. "She's brilliant, kind, and deserving of respect. Anyone who can't see that isn't someone whose opinion I value." The response was swift and largely positive. Other disability advocates spoke up in support. People who'd worked with Lady praised her dedication and competence. Even some of Eli's business associates who'd been skeptical before came around. Vincent called that evening. "I owe you an apology," he told Lady when she answered. "Both of you. I was wrong to doubt your relationship. I can see now how much you care about each other. And Eli. I haven't seen him this happy in years." "Thank you," Lady said softly. The controversy didn't disappear overnight. There were still some critics, still some people who believed the worst. But they were in the minority now. Most people saw what Eli and Lady had always known, that their love was real, built on mutual respect and genuine connection. That night, Lady and Eli sat in their garden, the place where so many important moments had happened. "I'm sorry I doubted us," Lady said. "You didn't doubt us. You doubted yourself. And I understand why. The world has spent your whole life telling you that you don't deserve good things." Eli took her hand. "But you do, Lady. You deserve everything. I'm going to work on believing that." "Good. Because I'm not going anywhere. You're stuck with me." Lady laughed, the sound lighter than it had been in days. "I can live with that." They sat together as the stars came out, hands linked, hearts full. The storm had passed. They'd weathered it together. And they were stronger for it. If you've made it this far, you've witnessed something beautiful. 2 people finding hope and love when they needed it most. But here's a question for you. When was the last time you stopped to help someone even when it wasn't convenient? Share your story in the comments below. And if this journey has touched your heart, hit that subscribe button. Because kindness always leads to something better, and these stories remind us that we're all connected. Don't forget to let me know what you think will happen next. Winter arrived early that year. By November, snow blanketed the estate's gardens, turning everything white and magical. Lady finished her fall semester with straight A's. Tommy submitted his college applications. Eli's company won several industry awards for innovation. Life was good. Better than good. It had been over a year since that rainy day in the park. Lady thought about it sometimes, how different her life might have been if she'd kept walking like those joggers. If she'd been too tired or too focused on her own problems to stop. But she had stopped. and everything had changed. Now, on a cold Saturday in December, Eli asked Lady to meet him in the garden. He'd been acting strange all week, secretive and nervous. Lady wondered if something was wrong with the business, but when she'd asked, he just smiled and said everything was fine. She bundled up in a warm coat and boots, making her way down the snow-covered paths. The garden had been transformed. White lights hung from every tree, creating a canopy of stars. The path was cleared and lined with luminarias. And at the end of the path near the fountain stood Eli. He wasn't alone. Tommy was there, grinning like he knew a secret. Nicole and Gerald stood off to the side, both of them smiling. Even Vincent was there, looking pleased. "What's going on?" Lady asked as she approached. "Come here," Eli said, reaching for her hand. Lady took his hand, her heart beating fast. The lights, the setup, everyone gathered. She had a feeling she knew what was coming, but she didn't want to assume. "Lady," Eli began. "A year ago I was stuck in the mud. Literally. I was sinking, scared, convinced I was invisible to the world. 3 people passed me by. But you stopped. You ruined your shoes and your phone and you didn't hesitate for a second. Eli. Let me finish." He smiled. "You saved me that day. Not just from the mud but from the life I was living. The lonely, closed-off, half-life where I'd convinced myself I'd never be happy again. You brought joy back into my world. You brought love." He reached into his jacket pocket and pulled out a small box. Lady's breath caught. "I've spent this year getting to know you, falling deeper in love with you every single day. I love your strength and your kindness. I love how hard you work, how much you care about Tommy, how you see the best in everyone. I love the way you make me laugh. The way you challenge me. The way you make every day brighter just by being in it." Eli opened the box. Inside was a ring, a beautiful diamond on a platinum band, catching the light from the luminarias. "Lady Johnson, will you marry me?" Lady's hands flew to her mouth. Tears streamed down her face. Behind Eli, Tommy was bouncing on his toes, barely containing his excitement. "Yes," Lady said, the word coming out as a sob. "Yes, of course, yes." Eli slipped the ring onto her finger, and then she was pulling him close, kissing him as snow started to fall around them. Everyone cheered. Tommy rushed over, pulling them both into a hug. "I'm so happy for you," he said, his own eyes wet. "Both of you." Nicole was crying too, hugging Lady tight. "Welcome to the family officially." Even Vincent shook Lady's hand, his expression warm. "I was wrong about you. You're exactly what Eli needs. Congratulations." They all went inside for a celebration dinner Paul had prepared. Champagne flowed. Stories were shared. Plans were made. Later, after everyone had gone to bed, Lady and Eli sat alone in his office. Lady couldn't stop looking at her ring, the way it sparkled in the lamplight. "I have something else to tell you," Eli said. "More surprises? A good one, I promise." He took her hand. "I've been thinking about the company's future. About what comes next. And I want to make you a partner." "A partner?" Lady's eyes went wide. "Not just in title. A real partner. Equal ownership, equal decision-making. Whitaker Solutions becomes Whitaker Johnson Solutions." He squeezed her hand. "You've proven yourself 100 times over this past year. You're brilliant at community outreach, at seeing opportunities one miss. And I want to build this future together. All of it." "Eli, that's huge." "I know. And I know it's fast. But I trust you completely. I believe in you completely. And I want the world to know that you're not just my wife. You're my equal in every way." Lady felt overwhelmed, tears threatening again. A year ago she'd been scraping by on 3 jobs. Now she was engaged to a wonderful man, about to become a partner in a successful company, with her brother's future secure and her own dreams within reach. "I don't know what to say," she whispered. "Say you'll think about it. Say you'll consider it. And know that whatever you decide, I'll support you." "I'll think about it," Lady promised. "But Eli, thank you. For believing in me. For seeing me." "I'll always see you," Eli said. "You're impossible to miss." They stayed up late into the night, talking about wedding plans and business plans and all the possibilities ahead of them. Lady felt like she was floating, like this was all a dream she'd wake up from. But it wasn't a dream. It was real. This was her life now. A life full of love and hope and endless opportunity. All because one rainy day she'd stopped to help a stranger in the mud. Spring returned to the estate, bringing with it flowers and warm breezes and a sense of new beginnings. The wedding was set for May, exactly 1 year and 1 month after Lady and Eli had met in the park. The months between the proposal and the wedding passed in a blur of planning and work and joy. Lady had accepted Eli's offer to become a partner in the company. The announcement had been met with widespread support. The rebranding to Whittaker Johnson Solutions was already underway. Tommy had received acceptance letters from 4 universities. He'd chosen State, the same school Lady had gotten her scholarship to years ago. Eli had made good on his promise, setting up a full ride for Tommy's entire college career. Tommy would start in the fall studying computer science. Lady was in her final semester of her business degree, maintaining her perfect GPA. She'd be graduating in December, just a year and a half after starting. It felt surreal. But the wedding was what consumed most of their energy. Lady had initially wanted something small, but Eli gently convinced her that this was a celebration. They should invite everyone who mattered to them. So they planned a garden wedding right there on the estate, in the place where so many of their important moments had happened. The same garden where Eli had proposed. The same garden where they'd fallen in love. The morning of the wedding dawned clear and bright. Lady woke up in her room, the room that had been hers for almost a year now. After today she'd be moving into Eli's suite, starting their married life together officially. Nicole came in carrying coffee and a huge smile. Big day. Huge day, Lady agreed, accepting the mug gratefully. They'd found Lady's dress at a boutique downtown. It was ivory, simple but elegant, with lace sleeves and a flowing skirt. Not white, because Lady wanted something that felt more her. She put it on with Nicole's help, then stared at herself in the mirror. "You're beautiful," Nicole said softly. "Eli's going to lose his mind." Tommy appeared in the doorway wearing a suit Eli had bought for him. He looked so grown up it made Lady's heart ache. "Wow," he said. "You look amazing." "So do you." Lady crossed to him, fixing his tie. "I'm so proud of you, Tommy. Of the man you're becoming. That's because of you. You raised me. You sacrificed everything for me." Tommy's voice cracked. "And now you're getting everything you deserve." They hugged, both of them crying a little. The ceremony was at 3 o'clock. Chairs were set up in the garden, facing an arch covered in flowers. The guest list included Eli's business associates, people from Ladies' community outreach programs, old friends from her neighborhood, some of Tommy's teachers. Even some of the families they'd helped through Whittaker Johnson Solutions accessibility programs were there. Lady walked down the aisle on Tommy's arm. He'd insisted on giving her away, saying he was the man of their family, it was his job. Lady had cried when he'd asked. And at the end of the aisle stood Eli, looking handsome in a gray suit. When he saw her, his face transformed, a smile so bright it rivaled the sun. The ceremony was simple, heartfelt. They'd written their own vows. Eli went first. "Lady, a year ago I was stuck. Not just in the mud but in life. I'd convinced myself that happiness wasn't for me anymore. That the best I could hope for was going through the motions. Then you stopped. You saw me when no one else did. You helped me without expecting anything in return. And in doing so, you saved my life in every way a person can be saved. I promise to spend the rest of our lives making you as happy as you've made me. I promise to support your dreams, to stand by your side, to love you with everything I have. You are my greatest adventure, my deepest joy, my home." Lady was crying before she even started her vows. "Eli, I stopped that day because it was the right thing to do. I never imagined it would lead to this. To love, to partnership, to a future brighter than anything I'd ever dreamed. You've given me so much. Not just material things, though those have changed my life. But you've given me confidence. You've shown me that I'm worthy of good things, of love, of respect. You've supported my dreams and my brother, and you've made me believe in myself. I promise to love you fiercely, to be your partner in all things, to see you always for the incredible person you are. Not despite the wheelchair, not because of it, but as part of the whole beautiful package that is you. You are my heart, my love, my future." There wasn't a dry eye in the audience. The officiant pronounced them married. Eli and Lady kissed as everyone cheered. Tommy whistled loudly. Nicole sobbed into Gerald's shoulder. Even Vincent wiped at his eyes. The reception was magical. They'd set up a tent in case of rain, but the weather held perfect. There was dinner and dancing and speeches. Tommy's toast made everyone laugh and cry. Vincent's toast was surprisingly moving, talking about how love could find anyone at any time, even when they least expected it. Lady danced with Eli, swaying slowly to their song. She danced with Tommy, who whispered that he loved her and was so happy for her. She danced with Nicole and Gerald and even Paul the chef. As the sun set and lights came on around the garden, Lady found herself standing alone for a moment, watching the celebration. She thought about her mother, who she wished could be there. About the years of struggle, the 3 jobs, the constant worry. About that rainy day in the park when she'd made a choice to help someone in need. "Hey," Eli said, wheeling up beside her. "What are you thinking about?" "How we got here. All the little choices that led to this moment." "I think about that too." Eli took her hand. "3 joggers passed me by. But you stopped. That choice changed everything. For both of us." "For both of us," he agreed. They stood there together, watching their friends and family celebrate. This was their life now. Their family. Their future. Lady thought about the scared woman she'd been a year ago. Working herself to exhaustion, barely surviving, convinced that happiness wasn't in the cards for her. She thought about the anger she used to feel, the unfairness of life, the constant struggle. And then she thought about love. About kindness. About hope. Those things had saved her just as surely as she'd saved Eli from that mud. Love had pulled them both out of dark places and into the light. "Ready to start our married life?" Eli asked, squeezing her hand. Lady looked at him, this man who'd become her whole world. Who'd seen her worth when she couldn't see it herself. Who'd given her everything and asked only for her love in return. "I'm ready," she said. And she was. Ready for college graduation and business partnerships and all the adventures ahead. Ready to help more people through their company's programs. Ready to build a life full of purpose and meaning and joy. Ready to prove, every single day, that kindness and hope and love could change everything. 1 year ago, Lady Johnson had stopped to help a man stuck in the mud. Today, Lady Whitaker stood in a garden full of light and love, married to her best friend, surrounded by family, looking toward a future that shimmered with possibility. She'd done the right thing that rainy day. And the universe had rewarded her beyond her wildest dreams. But more than that, she'd learned a truth that would stay with her forever. Love wasn't something you had to earn. It wasn't something reserved for certain people or certain circumstances. Love was a gift, freely given, that could find anyone anywhere. Even on a muddy path in the rain. Even when you least expected it. Love was always there waiting. You just had to be brave enough to stop. To see. To help. To open your heart. Lady had been that brave. And her whole world had transformed because of it. As the stars came out and the party continued around them, Eli and Lady sat together in their garden, hands linked, hearts full. 2 people who'd found each other in the unlikeliest of ways. 2 people who'd chosen kindness and hope and love. 2 people who'd proven that sometimes, the most beautiful beginnings come from the simplest acts of compassion. And their story, their beautiful story, was just beginning.